Joining me now is political commentator Shamika Michelle. Shamika, let's hear from Daphne Uran, the Manhattan prosecutor who has thrown the book at Daniel Penny, a man many believe should be receiving a bravery award, not fighting for his liberty. Here is Uran boasting about how in 2019 she pursued so-called restorative justice for a black man who murdered an Asian college professor at an ATM. Instead of the original murder charge, the offender, Michael Lee, ended up with a 10-year sentence for manslaughter, and she's proud of that.
I had a murder case where the defendant did not intentionally kill the victim. He went into an ATM on the Upper West Side and tried to rob an individual. This is, under the law, a felony murder, which is akin to intentional murder. However, when I first got the case, I learned, I took the time to learn about the defendant. I really felt incredibly sorry for him that he had gotten to that point in his life where he felt like there was no other choice but to commit this robbery.
Shamika, now this same prosecutor is trying her absolute best to get former US Marine Daniel Penny jailed for as long as possible for stepping in when a volatile homeless man was threatening violence against train passengers. Not even the New York mayor, Eric Adams, is signing up to this witch hunt.
Those passengers were afraid. I've been on the subway system. I know what it is as a police officer to wrestle or fight with someone. We're on the subway where we're hearing someone talking about hurting people, killing people. You have someone on that subway who was responding.
Shamika, the justice system in New York isn't just two-tiered. It seems to be completely corrupted by ideological lunacy.
Absolutely, Rita. This is what's going on over here in the United States, especially in New York. It's like up is down, left is right. And I am so glad that actually Mayor Eric Adams is having a change of heart, because initially he came across very woke on this whole issue. But now that the left has come after him, he's singing a new tune because he needs allies now, because he knows that they are crazy and deranged. When I listen to this prosecutor, actually, if I close my eyes, it's hard for me to say she. So I'm just going to say the prosecutor. This is really ridiculous that she would go after this man who was really stepping in to help passengers. As a female myself, I would have been afraid if I was on the subway and the man was acting in the way that they described. I would have been so thankful for Daniel Penny. So for them to be going after him, really trying to just ruin his life, is what's happening here, and it's absolutely absurd.
And I know several legal observers, legal experts who've been in the courtroom, who've been observing this case, who are absolutely shocked by what they have seen. We'll be keeping a close eye on this one, but it basically tells men, don't be a good Samaritan, don't step forward to help others, because if something goes wrong, you could be going to jail. You could be going to jail for the rest of your life. Now, Shamika, the Biden administration is supporting the ACLU in its Supreme Court action, arguing that it's unconstitutional for Tennessee to stop youngsters having so-called gender-affirming care. Let's hear from one of the ACLU lawyers, a woman who now identifies as a man. This is Chase Strangio.
I would say is nobody has to provide this medication to adolescents. These are not doctors being forced to provide this medication. These are doctors who are wanting to treat their patients in the best way that they know how, based on the best available evidence to us. And these are young people who may have known since they were 2 years old exactly who they are, who suffered for 6-7 years before they had any relief. And what's happening here, it's not the kids who are consenting to this treatment, it's the parents who are consenting to the treatment.
Shamika, your reaction to that. 2-year-olds know they're in the wrong body, according to that lawyer, and we should allow the parents to inflict these irreversible treatments on confused children. We don't let parents inflict tattoos on 6-year-olds or 9-year-olds. We don't let parents do a whole bunch of stuff to kids because it's not in the interest of the child. But when it comes to this so-called gender-affirming care, some of these activists have got some very warped ideas.
Absolutely, Rita. I need to just put this on because we're living in clown world. When you think that a 2-year-old can actually make that decision when a child 16, they can't drive until they're 16, they can't vote until they're 18, they can't drink until they're 21, but you think a 2-year-old can make such a life-changing decision, something has to be wrong with your mental capacity. But this is what we're dealing with here in America. And it's crazy because I remember in 2018, I said this was happening and people argued me down on social media saying maybe it's happening in other countries, but it's not happening here. Because when you give the left an inch, they take a mile to actually put these children in the predicament to be castrated at such young age, knowing that this can never be reversed, is very sad. And my heart goes out to these children. When a child says, I want to be Superman, we don't push them out of a building to see if they can fly. So the fact that we think that a young child can make such a life-changing decision and the adults in the room are not acting like adults, it's really sad because if we don't step in and protect them as in the government, that's why I'm so grateful Trump will be the next president again. Who's going to save these children? Because the parents are not in the right mind frame to actually be parents.
You're so right. We've spoken to detransitioners on this program, including Chloe Cole, a very, very brave young woman who started this irreversible treatment. I think she was only 12 or 13, had a double mastectomy at 15, her healthy breasts removed. At 18, she was detransitioning, identifying as female again, but now she has no breasts. She can never breastfeed her children. She fears she's infertile from all the drugs she's taken and the treatments, and she's got lifelong medical issues. And again, that doesn't get talked about enough, the fact that we're making lifelong medical clients from these treatments. I want to play you a clip from Pete Hegseth. He sat down for an interview with Megyn Kelly to talk about the allegations against him. There has been just a litany of allegations. Of course, they've all come about after he was selected to be the next Defence Secretary. Have a listen.
Just so the audience knows, I too have looked through all of the accusations, all of the reports against you. There is not one name, not one person accusing you of any sort of misconduct has gone on the record with their accusation. It is all anonymous from NBC, CBS, The New Yorker, the usual suspects. And yet you are having person after person go on the record in your defense.
Shamika, it seems like they're trying to Brett Kavanaugh him. Will he withstand the campaign? It is fierce. It must be hurting him, hurting his family. I've heard his mother interviewed. They revealed an email she sent, I think when he was going through a marriage breakup or some sort of relationship difficulty, and they tried to suggest his own mother thinks he's unfit, and she had to do interviews to explain how she actually felt and what that email was about. I mean, this must just be a horrific experience to be undergoing.
I'm sure it's very horrific for him and his family, but he seems to be a very tough man. And Rita, I'm going to go on the record in support of him because, listen, I met him a few years ago. We took a picture, and I'm a good-looking woman, and he did not act any type of way inappropriate with me. So I'm going on the record to say this is just another hoax. This is another one of their tactics to try to bring this man down. And I just don't believe it's going to work. I know that he is military. He's very tough. And I think that he's built for the job and that we will see him confirmed eventually.
Well, he said that he had spoken to President-elect Donald Trump just earlier in the day, and he had told him to keep fighting. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Shamika Michelle, thank you so much for your time this evening. We'll see you in the new year.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.